This girl is holding a bone to feed the snake. Canada's virtual ghost thing is that the snake eats very well, more virtual than it grows a hairy dog tail. However, these animals are still not the most unique. If you say strange, it must be said that this toad, it has the face of a dog. These strange Bindwang are born from Dr. Jack. To study the secret of immortality, he took a Tibetan dog for genetic testing. And this dog is unique. Not only is it 500 years old, but it also sits and recites the Buddha's sutras every day with the great masters. Even though Lucky has lived for 500 years, he still cannot escape the hand of Dr. Jack. To clarify the secret of Lucky's longevity, he also captured many animals for experiments. However, the experiment not only made people laugh, it also created a dozen adorable mutant animals. But he has no intention of giving up. The next day, the girl pulled out a gene tube from Lucky again. At first, it pretended to be obedient, then when they relaxed their guard, quickly grabbed the gene tube on the table. Because blood is contagious, once infected, the body will turn into a dog. So they can't stop it. It strutted into the elevator, then skillfully pressed the first floor to escape Jack's hand. Lucky followed the experimental court to run a circuit. Unexpectedly, on the way, he met two children. Kali saw Lucky's outstanding appearance and brought him home. But her father, Mr. Beck, absolutely hates dogs. Saw Lucky appear in the living room, without saying a word pulled straight out. It didn't listen, but instead bit his hand. In an instant, its genes passed through the bloodstream into Beck's body. At this time, Mr. Beck has not yet realized the change in his body. He bitterly took Lucky to the pet station. But just regained consciousness, Beck had some very bizarre actions. He went to a bath, but he didn't use a towel to scrub it, shaking to shake water. When he drank the broth, the tip of his tongue licked each other. The top was eating rice with a spoon, and then put his head down in the bowl. Not only that, but he unconsciously sticks his tongue out. This tongue is as long as a dog's tongue. Even when he goes to the toilet, he has to raise his legs. The series of actions morphed into dogs, making Beck realize he was about to be a dog. So he immediately ran to the pet station looking for Lux. He asked him, why bite him? Lucky face full of innocence looking at Beck. However, at this very moment, Lucky's genes are fully integrated with the cells in his body. He's turned into a dog. Strictly, his form is exactly the same as Lucky in the cage. He still doesn't realize he's turned into a dog at this point. He happily ran on the streets. Until he walked through the display, he spotted the dog in the screen. His movements were the same. Beck thought he was lying in a dream, so he slowly backwards, plunged straight towards the bone. And the result was not a dream, and he almost broke his teeth. Now he really realized he was a dog. He was so humiliated to launch home. He used his nose to press the doorbell, but his daughter Kali basically didn't know the dog in front of her father. I thought Lucky was back, because to prove his identity, Beck ran into the living room, dragged the landfill to the ground, tried to use a piece of wood to put it together. I am your father. But the kids rushed to think he was causing trouble, so they collected the compound. Kali now thinks he's a dog. He is going to take him back to the pet station. Beck, as soon as I hear, I'm afraid of purple, to let her give up on this. He was cleverly lying on the grass looking cute. The girl with glasses also went to the pet station. She told the handler the dog belonged to her house. Just like that, Lucky was led back to the lab, locked in an iron cage. This time there is that escape by faith. That night, Beck again devised a way to prove himself. He went into his book room, then the tip of a pen indicated to type out the truth. But Kali rushed to close the computer. Beck is very bitter. Then he performed another great technique of wearing glasses. I want to use this for my children to recognize me. But they thought that Beck came out of the circus. Rebecca found him pitiful. So I let him sleep in the garage. Because the husband does not allow the dog to stay in the room, without knowing that this dog is her husband. Wait until the next day Beck becomes human again. He thought yesterday was just a dream, so he went with his wife to a parent-teacher conference. But while talking for half an hour, outside the window a cat provoked him again. Body as a dog can endure. Beck lunged forward, but how could two legs beat four legs? So Beck used both arms and legs. At this time, the prey crept through the green fence. Beck immediately galloped past, crashed into the fence. The leaves flew wildly, frantically chasing. When running tired, use your tongue to lick water to quench thirst. Wait until the body temperature drops. He continues to chase the cat. Seeing the old woman in the way, Beck still rushed forward like that. Now that the dog god appears, it doesn't stop Mr. Beck from catching the cat. The cat now ran to a dining table again, and Beck immediately rushed over. Noodles on the desk are all over the guests' faces. Then chased the cat to an alley. But it was at this moment that Beck realized something was wrong. When he looked at the image in the water, I just discovered that I've turned into a dog again. Not drinking, the spirit of catching the dog grabbed his neck, so the city management team arrested Beck. Fortunately, the children made it to the pet station in time to save Beck back home. But being a dog also has a good thing, which is being able to discover the secrets of the little ones. Ross's son doesn't like football at all. Only because his father liked him did he want to join. Beck also discovered that he deliberately pretended to be stupid. Like that, Dad will let you withdraw from the team. And the family's treasure collie also began to fall in love, and when he was not at home, sneaked his boyfriend home. Father, of course he had to intervene. But the boy used a bone to trick him out. Waited for him to enter the room again, then almost smacked the door in the face. Even the couple's 10th wedding anniversary, he could only eat flowers outside the restaurant to watch. This makes Rebecca think Beck has changed his mind. Even the dog brought her flowers. But the old husband did not say a word. Heartbroken, she hugged Beck, sobbing in the car. If you weren't a dog, you wouldn't know that your children and your wife are so weak in your heart. He is a lawyer himself, only knows that he has a job, and cares about his family less and less. Today, Dr. Jack entrusted him with the arson case. Found that the defendant said the laboratory had a dog-faced toad and a dog-tailed snake. Basically everyone thought it was a lie, and made the crowd laugh, but Beck believed in his word. Dr. Jack immediately left the scene. This made Beck even more convinced that the company was something out of the ordinary. In the quiet of the night, he turned into a dog and sneaked into Dr. Jack's experimental building. I want to find out what the secret is here. When he found the lab, he just found out that Dr. Jack was present, is preparing to give his boss the elixir of life. But after the injection was completed, the master's body did not stop convulsing. It turned out that the medicine was soon turned into poison by him. The goal is for the boss to become a plant man, thereby taking control of this experimental building. This scene was often seen by the kitten in the vent, seeing him fall quickly, but the dog scene was clearly seen by Dr. Jack through the camera. Beck rushed home. He pulled the jigsaw box on the bookshelf to the ground. Before the kids arrive, Beck used his foot to write, "I am your father." This surprised the children. My father is a dog. Now he smelled a strange smell. It turned out to be a thick-faced dog peeing at the door who was going out to talk about dog ethics. Then suddenly a bolt of lightning hit him. Electric shock fell on the dog's face. Just like that, Beck was taken back to the laboratory. Jack intends to use various tools to torture him. Laughed very bitterly. Unexpectedly, Beck was locked in a cage, biting his finger again. Thought it was just a scratch. Only after a few seconds, his body reacted to change into a dog. The speed of spreading is similar to that of Kovai. Wait after Jack leaves. These adorable mutants immediately discussed how to get out. Lucky told Beck, just meditate. Throw away all distractions. Use your heart to feel the goodness of the world. It is possible to change from a dog to a human. Other animals, after watching Beck manipulate, everyone has inhaled, exhaled, and breathed in the spirit of heaven and earth, and Beck's fur also gradually changed. In the cry of the toad, he finally turned into a human. But how to get out of the cage? Now he saw the key hanging on the cabinet. Beck immediately promoted his intelligence. Command the animals to join forces. The monkey used all his strength, breaking the snake's cage. The snake in the cage followed the cabinet and climbed up. Use the tip to insert the keychain. Get the key into Beck's hand. They finally escaped the iron cage. Beck moved the animals out into the ventilation, intent to lead them out of this dark laboratory without the sun. As he was about to climb up, an electric current rushed in, causing him to doubt his life. Just like that, Beck was locked in a cage. The animals in the ventilation ducts also discussed rescue measures. Only saw the monkey following the snake quietly down from the ventilation duct. The monkey proudly put on a triumphant appearance. It seems to enjoy the pleasure of Jack people. Beck escaped, immediately brought these animals to the court, to denounce Dr. Jack's immoral experiment. However, when they were halfway to the courthouse ahead, there was a severe traffic jam. The nimble Beck had left the car. Under the cover of the vehicle, he turned into a dog again. Beck was like a wild horse with a broken reins, flying over the roof of a car, then jumping off the bridge, landed directly on the roof of the bus to the court. With the help of the bus, Beck finally made it to the courthouse. On trial, Beck immediately exposed the conspiracy of Dr. Jack. During his research he abused animals, which he of course did not admit. Then the two entered into a fierce argument. The behavior of both sides became more and more dog-like. They almost jumped in to bite each other. Dr. Jack is about to reveal his true identity as a dog. At this moment, the judge stopped their behavior. He also called the police to drag Beck out. Just in time, Dr. Jack is about to be freed. Then Beck rushed in with a police stick. He threw the stick into the air. At this moment, he couldn't suppress his instincts. This scene stunned the judges. Jack was about to make excuses, but it was too late. He looked back and found that he had grown a dog's tail. This time it's really hard to explain. He was eventually arrested, and Beck also received sympathy from his family. The movie is over. If you choose the mutant gene, do you want to be a monkey or a snake? Leave your comments below. Hee hee.